106 Republicans sign on to Texas's lawsuit against the 4 states that changed their voting practices at the very, very last second. So we'll talk a bit about what's going on in that neck of the woods. Barack Obama says Rush Limbaugh is the reason that he cannot connect with conservative Americans. Walmart is getting ready to administer the COVID-19 vaccine to everybody that will come into their stores. I'm safe. And Canada is allowing China to train in their homeland. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Contemporary. I apologize for the late start. We were having technical issues and technical difficulties every which way. My tablet decided that it wanted to go to hell. For whatever reason, my computer tried to open up both instances of OBS at the same time. Didn't have the title cards changed. And, of course, we had a reCAPTCHA over on the live chat. But today is the day that I read your live chat, so it is the most important that we have the live chat up there. So we're not gonna let you guys go unthanked for the week just because we're having technical issues. We will fix the issues and we will push through. So make sure if you are lurking today, get your name in that live chat. Come on in here, hang out. I can't see the lemons on the live chat that I have up here, so throw a message, including along with throwing a lemon up there if you want to throw a lemon, so that way I can make sure to thank you. But before we get into any of this, head on over to freedomscoop.com. Freedomscoop.com is going to be your one-stop shop for all of your news and commentary needs. We carry great shows such as The Daily Ignoramus, The Generational Gap, The R-Rated Conservative, who is off of his YouTube suspension, by the way. I just saw him pop up in my feed last night. So, he is off. We can also see The Breakdown with Birkenhoff, The Freckles and Brit Show, and much more. Come on over there, pick up some of our swag, and help us support great creators. All right, moving down into the stocks news. The Dow was down yesterday, and we are actually down below that 30,000 mark once again that everybody was so proud of for just a moment there. And it looks like on the futures, it's going to keep going because, hey, there's a chance that something might happen coming up out of this lawsuit. And I bet you there's some investors and some big bankers who think that they can push around Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and get their way, looking down at the Donald and saying, oh shit, we can't screw people over anymore. But let's have a look at what's going on with that. We'll see what's going on in that world, starting with Investors Business Daily. Not starting with Investors Business Daily. Never mind. We'll skip them because they want to throw everything behind the paywall today, and we will go straight into CNBC. 5 things to know before the stock market opens on Friday from Matthew J. Belvedere. 1. Dow set to drop as stimulus talks stall. Yep, everybody was sitting around, and of course they all thought that, well, Joe Biden's going to be the president now, so Nancy Pelosi will talk. We'll get our stimulus. We'll get our free shit again. And, well, we know what happened there. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was set to open 150 points lower Friday as difficulties in Washington over reaching a new COVID-19 stimulus package before the end of the year outweigh Pfizer's vaccine, taking a step closer to FDA emergency use approval. On Friday morning, FDA's commissioner said the agency is rapidly working towards such authorization and unusual announcement before a finalized decision. Still not going to take it. While the Dow and the S&P 500 saw modest declines Thursday and NASDAQ had a slight gain, all three were tracking to snap multi-week winning streaks. However, heading into Friday, trading on Wall Street, the Dow and S&P 500 were less than 1% away from their record high closes from earlier this week. And the NASDAQ was 1.4% away from its record close earlier in the week. Number 2, as we just mentioned, FDA says it's moving rapidly to approve Pfizer vaccine for emergency use. Still not taking it. 3. GOP senators appear unlikely to support bipartisan relief efforts. Yeah, we're going to sit back and blame this on Republicans after Dick Durbin, Bernie Sanders, and Nancy Pelosi herself have all said that the second stimulus that they all promised you didn't go through because they didn't want to hand Trump the win. 4. Disney Plus subscribers now total nearly 87 million. Yeah, did you see the big list of stuff that they're going to come out with Disney Plus? We talked a bit about it yesterday, with talking about where they're going to go with the series and the franchise and everything else. That was on the things that I hate. But they are actually, as soon as I clicked the camera off, I looked back at my Instagram. I was just kind of scrolling through there, and I saw that, yes, they are going to do Obi-Wan Kenobi. I have big prayers that it does something good, because I have no faith in Disney anymore. After seeing that last scene, I should have put it up on the stack today too. I hammered at Mark Hamill yesterday because, Trump got up and tweeted out his big all capitals, wisdom and courage. And Hamill went out and said, well, the next time you're in Oz, maybe you should ask the wizard for a heart too. And I just looked back up and I said, you know what? You allowed Disney to kill off one of the most beloved and iconic characters in film history, in all of film history, because he thought too fucking hard. And you were complicit in this, by the way, by acting in that scene. You shouldn't be talking about somebody else having a heart when you clearly lack wisdom and or a brain and a spine, is what I said. But yeah, they're up to nearly 87 million. They are making a bunch of moves, and like I said, I use Disney Plus. My sister has small children, so she paid for the subscription, and they gave me my own little link so I can look at all the old Disney Channel shows, look back at the nostalgia of when I was growing up, or I've watched Tailspin from when I was a kid. The airplane show with Baloo from the Jungle Book. I've watched all that stuff. They're doing good stuff with it for what it's worth. I just hope that they don't completely execute the Star Wars franchise in doing so. And like I said, I can't speak to The Mandalorian because I haven't seen it yet. A lot of people say it's good. All right, last one. Airbnb initial public offering skyrocketed over 112% on its first day of trading. In blockbuster week of IPOs, home rental marketplace Airbnb skyrocketed more than 112%. In Thursday's debut of food delivery service DoorDash surged over 85% on its first trading day Wednesday. While both stocks were giving back a fraction of those gains in Friday's pre-market, their market values were off the charts. Airbnb's market cap of about $86.5 billion far exceeds those of hotel chains Marriott and Hilton. DoorDash's $59 billion market cap as of Thursday's close was 9 times higher than rival Grubhub. So, we don't have the regular futures on this, but we have 5 things to watch. Looking in as you look and see what your retirement accounts do for the rest of the week on the last day of trading, let's get into the news. Starting with a tweet from everybody's favorite socialist, Alexandria OcasioCortez. 106 House Republicans are spending critical time when people are starving and small businesses are shuttering, trying to overturn the results of our election. But please, tell us more about how both sides are just as bad. Okay, since you issued me a challenge, I will do just that. Both sides are just as bad because, let me tell you, when Hillary Clinton went back and said, Joe Biden, do not concede on election night, no matter what, we knew full well that they were planning to fuck something up. But furthermore, if they were, in whatever reason, to come out and, actually do something, or if the Donald would have actually be winning right now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, 106 House Democrats, and probably New York and California would be doing the same thing and suing and joining on the lawsuits to try and get the recount and try to oust President Trump. Both sides are just as bad. You stand in the moral high ground right now because you think that you can try to shame people. And people aren't backing down. This is not the GOP of my childhood, by the way. They would have backed down, rolled over, they would have Mitt Romney and had said, we'll just let the other guy win, okay? No, just don't take away too many of our guns. Don't do that, please. Okay. No, they're actually fighting back. Where it goes, I don't know at this point. I'm still sitting back here with a tub of popcorn, getting ready and waiting to watch, but people are starving and people are trying to win, okay? Why are they trying to win when people are starving? And of course, all 17 of the states that went up to do this were all called the Seditious 17. And now all of these people are being accused of treason as well. Alright, so that's what's going on with that. Let's read a little bit from Forbes. 106 House Republicans support Trump-backed lawsuit to overturn election, from Andrew Solendar. A group of 106 Republican House members, more than half the GOP caucus in the chamber, signed an amicus brief filed Thursday in support of a lawsuit backed by President Trump that seeks to overturn the election. Trump has sought to overcome his loss by any means necessary. His campaign and allies have launched, and mostly lost, dozens of lawsuits. Well, this is the first article I've seen so far that acknowledges the fact that it's more than just his lawsuits that are going through this, but that's what they're going to try and shove down your throat. Dozens of lawsuits to try and throw out absentee ballots, block certification, and invalidate electors in the states buttressing Biden's electoral college win. Trump has even resorted to putting pressure on officials, calling county officials in Detroit and GOP leaders in Pennsylvania, meeting with Michigan GOP leaders, and urging Governor Brian Kemp and Doug Ducey to help overturn their state's results. 54%, that's the share of House GOP caucus, which consists of 196 members, that signed the amicus brief. Just 23 Republicans in the House and Senate have broken with Trump's refusal to concede and acknowledged Biden as president-elect, as have 2 Trump administration officials. The list of Republicans who signed the brief includes 16 from states whose results are being challenged by the lawsuit, 7 out of 9 Republican congressmen in Pennsylvania, 4 out of 8 in Georgia, 4 out of 6 in Michigan, and 1 out of 5 in Wisconsin. Here's a hint, I'm pretty sure it's not Brian Style. Several attorneys general backing the lawsuit have taken flack from major Republican figures in their states. Senator John Cornyn, whose state's attorney general, Ken Paxton, introduced the lawsuit, called it very unusual and a long shot. Right, it might be a long shot. But so was a New York magnate that had never held a public office before in his life, getting elected to the presidency. That was a long shot too. If Trump had stopped every time they said, "That's a long shot, you shouldn't do it," we would be listening to Hillary Clinton's cackle through the re-election bid. I just want you guys to know that. Utah Governor Gary Herbert and Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox criticized Utah Attorney General Sean Rice, supported the lawsuit as an unwise use of taxpayers' money, while Senator Mitt Romney, D. Utah, even though he runs as an R. Utah, called it simply madness. Perhaps the staunchest critics of the lawsuit have been officials in the states whose results are being challenged. No way! We're getting sued and we're criticizing it? Color me shocked! Color me shocked. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel, a Democrat, filed a response, calling the lawsuit without factual foundation, while Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr, a Republican, said many of Texas's claims have no basis. Wisconsin's Attorney General called it an extraordinary intrusion. Well, Wisconsin's Attorney General is a dick. I don't know any of these other people or any of their, general outlooks on life, but Wisconsin's Attorney General is a dick. And I hope he hears me say that. But, this is the same thing we've been hearing. Now, I don't see the evidence. This warrants an investigation, no matter what. You've got Biden underperforming Hillary Clinton in almost every district across the country except for Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Madison, and Maricopa County. Something doesn't fucking math here. And I'm not saying that I'm not wrong, because I could very well be wrong on there's a good chance that I'm wrong on this. I'm just looking at the numbers, looking at the math, and saying, wait a fucking second here. So, We will see what happens off of this. 106 of your representatives are doing so. Like I said, AOC's got the list, but I can't see this. Okay, we've got the list here. It's right up on her tweet. We can see who all these people are. And I know the other thing that the Lincoln Project was doing yesterday was, here are the phone numbers of all the people who all the attorney generals who are signing on to this. Make sure you blow their offices up. Which I started reporting them for that. Nothing's going to come out of it because they're the fucking Lincoln Project, but I started reporting them for that. All right. Let's see. From Newsmax. Biden's cabinet diversity of ideas makes for hazy vision. I gotta see if I'm actually... Okay. Live chat's saying I'm stuck, but my YouTube is still going. It's grainy as shit, but it's still going. So I don't know if DLive is having a problem over there or what's going on, but yeah, Elva Man says that I'm not moving, but my YouTube is moving. So if anybody can offer any insight into that, please let me know. Meanwhile, let's talk about AOC biscuits some more. Biden's cabinet diversity of ideas makes for hazy vision. From Eric Mack. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, D-Twitch, is a big proponent of diversity, just apparently not when it comes to political ideology. She has the biggest problem with the diversity of ideas in Joe Biden's cabinet selection, suggesting they all need to be of the same mind, because the overall vision is a little hazy. I think it would be great to see more cohesive vision across the entire cabinet, AOC told reporters on Wednesday per Politico Playbook. You have an individual appointment here, an individual appointment there. We could wrestle about whether they're bold enough or ambitious enough, especially given the uncertainty and what kind of Senate we're going to have. But aside from that, I think that the things I'm looking for when I see these picks together is, what is the agenda? What is the overall vision going to be? I think that's a little hazy. Well, the overall vision is a bunch of rich Wall Street swamp creatures that have been friends with Biden for 47 years are going to get on the cabinet, get exorbitant amounts of pay, be able to muscle in a bunch of money out of companies because, hey, here's some money. Just rule in our favor on something, okay? Just tell Biden to do something in our favor, okay? As we push more and more businesses down the tubes and get more businesses out of the way for the big corporate CEOs like Amazon and Walmart. AOC has been a vocal leader of the progressive wing of the Democratic Party and has pushed Biden to place more cabinet members who think like her. Biden, though, has kept AOC at arm's length, and she was not given a slot at the Democratic National Committee convention in August. Senator Bernie Sanders did invite her to introduce him as the runner-up in the primary, but she was given just a minute and a half to speak. She also called out Biden's efforts to reach out to Never Trump Republicans to speak at the DNCC. I'm trying to read into, I guess, like many other people, what is the overall message from the big picture in the entire cabinet put together, AOC told reporters per Politico. And what is the agenda for it? Because we have a person who has more conservative history. This one thing. But what is the mission that they're trying to be given in their individual agency, whether it's transportation, defense, OMB, etc.? Well, it's because the corporate Democrats got together and said, you know what? We're going to use your progressive wing to get votes. And then we're going to give you this. And then we're going to go back and continue to make all our buddies rich. That's what the agenda was. I can see it. The people in my live chat can see it. Hell, microbial life on Mars with a long enough fucking telescope can see it. Why can't you? You've seen the inner workings of this. You've made yourself rich off of this. But apparently she can't see. Let's keep going. From the Hill. Rush Limbaugh. U.S. trending towards secession. From John Bowden. Conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh on Wednesday suggested on his show that America was heading towards the conditions that resulted in the American Civil War after a caller asked whether conservatism would ever dominate U.S. culture again. The host responded to the call, first noted by Media Matters, because of course it's fucking Media Matters. They sit down. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that if there's somebody from Media Matters already, especially with the fact that I've got some bears in this chat, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody on Media Matters that sits down in his chair and watches this program, even though it's a smaller program. Only 230 YouTube subscribers. But if you guys bump that number up, I'll run for president. But because it's a smaller program, even still, Jared Holt is sitting there after one of his staffers sits and watches this program every day and says, he's going to say something racist, he's going to say something racist, he's going to say something racist, oh my god, he's going to say something racist. That's what Media Matters, that's their job, is to just sit and listen to conservative media all day, every day, to go try to find something racist that somebody has said. Saying that he believed the country was trending towards secession, or the act in which states could attempt to leave the Union. I thought you were asking me something else when you said, can we win? I thought you meant, can we win the culture? Can we dominate the culture? I actually think, and I've referenced this, I've alluded to this a couple times because I've seen the others allude to this. I actually think that we're trending towards secession, Limbaugh said. It can't go on this way, he continued. There cannot be a peaceful coexistence of two completely different theories of life, theories of government, theories of how we manage our affairs. We can't be in this dire conflict without something giving somewhere along the way. The only time states have seceded in U.S. history was in the days leading up to the Civil War, when Southern states supporting the cause of slavery, and the 10th Amendment, by the way, attempted to break away from the Union. The move led to a 4-year conflict that left more than 600,000 dead. Limbaugh's comments follow a similar remark made by Mississippi State Republican lawmaker following President-elect Joe Biden's victory in presidential election last month. He's not the president-elect, the electors have not met, and Trump has not conceded. But of course, Media Matters had to come up there, and they had to be the one to come out and say this, and Jared Holt beat off as soon as he found something that he could try to turn against Rush Limbaugh, because that's what Jared Holt does. Speaking of Limbaugh, let's move this over here, because I wanted to do this afterwards. From the Daily Wire, Obama blames Rush Limbaugh and Fox News for ruining his connection with conservatives. Yeah, that was what did it. Not the amazingly progressive agenda that you push through on your primaries, or the fact that you spent 8 years telling people how evil the conservatives were. No, it was Rush Limbaugh and Fox News. From John Brown. Former President Barack Obama blamed Fox News and conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh on Tuesday for losing the connection he claims he had with conservatives before he was president. Okay. You've never been out of Chicago before. During a virtual gala for the nonprofit organization PEN America, in which he accepted an award, Obama said, I ended up getting enormous support in these pretty conservative, rural, largely white communities when I was senator. And that success was repeated when I ran for president in the first race in Iowa. By my second year in office, I'm not sure if I could make that same connection, because now those same people are filtering me through Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and an entire right-wing or conservative media infrastructure that was characterizing me in a way that suggested I looked down on these folks. Fact check, you fucking did. Or had nothing in common with them. Fact check, you don't. Okay. And, I mean, Barack comes from Chicago. He went to law school. He already has not a lot in common with all these people, but the fact of the matter is, he got out of office, he went in, he increased his net worth 10 times while he was in office, and now lives coastally on Martha's Vineyard. Meanwhile, telling everybody that there won't be a Martha's Vineyard in 10 years. It wasn't Rush and Fox News. It was that smug, arrogant attitude and the fact that, yes, you went through and came out and said, you know what? If Republicans aren't going to play with me, I'm just going to shut the government down. And when nobody seems to care that the government shut down, well, then I'm going to put chains on all of the monuments just so that somebody feels an effect. Because nobody gave a fuck when the government was shut down. Nobody gave a damn when the government was shut down under Barack Obama. So he had to do something to make it hurt. No, it's not Rush. You arrogant fucking prick. Alright, let's move on here from the Blaze. Biden, Harris named Times Person of the Year. Mag says Fauci, frontline workers are guardians of the year. From Sarah Taylor, Time magazine has named former Vice President Joe Biden and Senator Kamala Harris as its Person of the Year. You know, she still hasn't resigned her Senate seat. The long-running publication also named Dr. Anthony Fauci and America's frontline workers as its Guardians of the Year. The magazine's editor-in-chief, Edward Felsenthal, said that Biden and Harris won the honor of changing the American story with regard to the 2020 presidential election. You mean they didn't change the American story in the combined 75 years they've been in government before that? The two also showed that the forces of empathy are greater than the furies of division, for sharing a vision of healing in a grieving world. Every elected president since FDR has at some point during his term been a Person of the Year, nearly a dozen of those in presidential election years. Felsenthal said, "This is the first time we have included a vice president." Well, that's because the agenda isn't about putting Joe Biden in, it's about putting Kamala Harris in. The magazine's candidates for Person of the Year included President Donald Trump and Anthony Fauci. Yeah, okay. They're actually going to put Trump in? Yeah, okay. No. The candidates list never included Trump, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. That candidates list never once included Trump. Never once. But they're going to come out there and we're going to say, oh, well, we thought about putting Trump on there because, we do want the people in rural America. We want them to buy our magazines, don't you know? So, we thought about it. No, we couldn't do it. No. Well, we thought about it, though. So, your Persons of the Year, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Let's keep going. From the Hill, Cotton calls for a special counsel to investigate Hunter Biden. Yes, please. I want to watch that. Senator Tom Cotton, a Republican with his eye on a potential White House run in 2024, on Thursday said a special counsel should be appointed to investigate Hunter Biden, President-elect Joe Biden's son. Cotton alleged during a Fox News interview that Hunter Biden appears to be a subject of a far-ranging investigation and cited allegations of securities fraud, money laundering, and a crooked hospital deal with Jim Biden, Joe Biden's brother, in western Pennsylvania. These investigations span multiple jurisdictions, and if Joe Biden becomes the president, then all those prosecutors are in line to be fired next month. If there were ever a circumstance that created a conflict of interest and called for a special counsel, I think those circumstances are present here, Cotton said. The Biden family has been trading on Joe Biden's public office for 50 years, he added. Do we really think that will change if Joe Biden becomes president, the highest office in the land? Cotton made his comments a day after Hunter Biden disclosed that the U.S. Attorney's Office in Delaware is investigating his tax affairs. I take this matter very seriously, but I'm confident that a professional and objective review of these matters will demonstrate that I handled my affairs legally and appropriately, including with the benefit of professional tax advisors, Biden said in a statement. Senate Republicans and Democrats are already set to battle over Attorney General William Barr's appointment of Connecticut U.S. Attorney John Durham to serve as a special counsel going into the next year to complete his investigation of the FBI's investigation of the 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 2016 Trump campaign and its interactions with the Russian officials. Yeah, I'd like to see what happened with that. And I'd like to see if there is a reason. Now, I have been deeply suspicious about the Hunter Biden thing since I heard about the Hunter Biden thing, and the fact that everybody, about the time we were starting to hear that Hunter Biden might not be above board, this was before the laptop. This was back during the impeachment thing with Hunter Biden and the Burisma board. And all of a sudden, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means. If you want conspiracy theories, talk to my great friend Stephen Ignoramus. But I just look at the fact that, okay, now we've got this impeachment going into primaries, and all of a sudden, going into South Carolina for the primaries, everybody dropped out, one right after another, cementing the win for Biden. And then, all of a sudden, he sits in the basement, doesn't talk, and lets the Donald talk. And mysteriously, he gets a bigger share of the black vote in Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Madison, Milwaukee, and Maricopa County. All the while, we're questioning what happened with him in the vice presidential office and with Hunter Biden. And I just have to wonder if this was coordinated in some way to make sure that he gets into the presidency so he can't be investigated by an outside agency unless he gets impeached. And I have to wonder if there are some people in the House of Representatives, in the DNC, in the Senate, who might have had their hands in the same fucking cookie jar. I'm not going to sit here and try to connect the dots. I'm just going to say there's a lot of moving parts here that seem to be moving in the same direction. So, we will see what happens with the special counsel, if it even comes up at this point. All right, let's keep going. We got a bunch more to do here. Joe Biden's brother is reportedly also being investigated by federal prosecutors. From Carlos Garcia, the brother of former Vice President Joe Biden is reportedly being investigated in the same probe into allegations of money laundering against his son Hunter Biden. A Politico report said Thursday that James Biden was being investigated by federal officials in the Western District of Pennsylvania over his former role in a now bankrupt company named AmeriCorps Health. In January, 2 hospitals managed by the company were raided by the FBI over allegations of gross mismanagement. I'd love to see that story, to be completely honest. I don't know why the FBI would go after a hospital, of all things. Might have to look into that one just a little bit here. On Wednesday, Hunter Biden admitted that he was the subject of a federal investigation, but short of describing it as a probe into his tax affairs, he offered few details. I take this matter very seriously, but I'm confident that a professional and objective review of these matters will demonstrate that I handled my affairs legally and appropriately, including with the benefit of professional tax advisors, Hunter Biden said. And then he leaned down, and he grabbed his crack pipe, and he lit the fucking thing up. I would pantomime that, but I've never actually seen a crack pipe being used, so I don't know what the actual pantomime goes. I know the glass bowl for weed is, going like that, but yeah, I can't pantomime the crack pipe. I've never actually been in close proximity to a crack pipe. Or somebody using one. The Politico report said that the Securities Fraud Unit in the Southern District of New York were also looking into Hunter Biden's business activities. President Trump and his allies had used the salacious stories involving Hunter Biden and the accusations that he had cashed in on his father's position in the government to damage Joe Biden's presidential campaign. Speculation spiked when it was discovered that Hunter Biden had left his laptop at a computer repair shop in Delaware, and the contents of that computer had ended up with Rudy Giuliani, the president's attorney. Yeah, and here's the thing about Hunter Biden. I've got this feeling that even if everything is above board on the taxes, he's still going to go up the river for a very, very long time because he needs to be put in a place, and by that place I mean federal supermax, where he can't hurt Daddy anymore. And Daddy can just sit in there in his wheelchair, in his blankie, and live out the rest of his days until Kamala Harris pushes him off a fucking cliff. So, that's what we see from the Bidens. Let's keep going. From Fox News. Growing number of top Republicans call for Swalwells' removal from the House Intelligence Committee. From Evie Fordham. More top Republicans are calling for Representative Eric Swalwells to be removed from the House Intelligence Committee after a report from Axios linked Swalwell with a suspected Chinese spy. It was Trump. Trump leaked it, okay? He leaked it to Axios, who hated him, but he leaked it to there. That's the reason, because I was going after him for Russia. He should not sit on the House Intelligence Committee and have access to classified information, said Tom Cotton, who is back in the news once again. Nancy Pelosi needs to answer what she knew and when she knew it. If Eric Swalwell was briefed about this woman in 2015, surely Nancy Pelosi, the House leader, a member of the Gang of Eight, which has access to the most classified secrets of our nation's government, knew it as well that she kept him on the House Intelligence Committee for these last 5 years. They both have a lot of questions to answer, and they need to do so in public today. Republicans, including Senator Josh Hawley, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, and Representative Mo Brooks, were critical of Swalwell. Well, he dropped a nuclear bomb in his fucking pants, too, so. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, D. China, also appointed Swalwell in 2015 to the secretive House Intelligence Committee, which led the impeachment investigation into President Trump, told Fox News she will back Swalwell's continued service on the committee, which has access to classified material and oversees activities of the U.S. intelligence community. This is going to end well for a lot of people. And yeah, I honestly, if he isn't removed from office, then he should at least be away from top secret documentation. At the very least. Let the voters decide what happens with his office, but he needs to be far, far away from top secret documents at this point. Alright. Reminder of you guys, if you're lurking, make sure you get at least one message in, because I will read the messages and thank everybody who chatted in the live chat today at the end of the show, and thank everybody as well from the past week. You guys were busy this past week, and you guys brought a lot of new viewers in too. I see a lot of new names on this sheet that I haven't seen in weeks past, so thanks for that. But once again, make sure you get those last minute messages in. I see a few lurkers are in there, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see if we can thank some people at the end. From NPR, newly sworn in GOP New Hampshire House Speaker dies of COVID-19. Autopsy shows. This is from Dan Barrick and Tom Bookman and Josh Rogers. Dude, nobody does the NPR voice better than John from the Generational Gap. If you haven't hung out with John from the Generational Gap on lunch break, his new daily show, I recommend doing so. He's doing Monday through Thursday on that. He's not doing Friday shows, unfortunately, but go and check him out. He's got that great NPR voice, especially when he's going by himself. Like, I can goad him into being a little bit more excited, but when he's going by himself, it's like listening to NPR. And I want to fall asleep at my desk while I'm on my lunch break. But that's the magic of NPR. They will help you sleep if you have insomnia. Alright, let's see what NPR has to say. Dude, Elaine was spicy about this in the Discord. Get in the Discord, too. It's in the description of all the major platforms. Come and hang out with us. We get some... I saw some spice yesterday. Plus all the spicy memes that keep popping up in there. Representative Dick Hinch, a Republican who was elected Speaker of New Hampshire House just a week ago, died of COVID-19 on Wednesday. This comes about a month before the state legislature, the largest in the U.S., is expected to convene for its regularly scheduled annual session. The state's Attorney General, Gordon MacDonald, announced the cause of death Thursday afternoon with the consent of the Hinch's family, following an autopsy by New Hampshire Chief Medical Examiner Jenny Duval. Hinch, who was 71 and from Merrimack, was poised to lead his party. In the state's House of Representatives, New Hampshire Republicans gained control of both the House and State Senate from Democrats in elections last month. Based. Hinch was formally elected House Speaker on December 2nd at an outdoor session held on an athletic field at the University of New Hampshire because of coronavirus concerns. Earlier the same week, several Republican House members were confirmed to have tested positive for the coronavirus after attending an indoor GOP caucus meeting. Since then, a member of Governor Chris Sununu's staff and an employee from the House Speaker's office have also tested positive, according to announcements from each office at the time the legislative staffer's diagnosis was announced. The House Speaker's office said that no legislators were identified as close contacts. So, yeah, Elaine was very, very spicy about that. All credit to that. But, Godspeed to the poor guy and his family. I hope they do find, I hope they find peace and comfort in sending him off to his final journey. He's 71 years old. He lived a full life. You don't want to see anybody die, but still, it's not like some 20-year-old got this and went. And we will see what happens in New Hampshire. From the Daily Mail. AIDS, as Stephen likes to say. 4 trial volunteers who got Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine developed Bell's palsy, but FDA denies that it was the temporary facial paralysis was caused by the shot. From Natalie Rahal, U.S. Health Editor. 4 people who got Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine in the firm's trial developed Bell's palsy, a form of temporary facial paralysis, according to U.S. regulators, reported on the shot. FDA regulators said there wasn't any clear way the vaccine caused Bell's palsy, but warned that doctors should watch for the alarming side effect, and Pfizer should continue to keep tabs on how many people it strikes. No one knows exactly what causes Bell's palsy, which resolves on its own most of the time. This isn't the first time it's been linked to vaccines, but scientists have ultimately ruled that shots did not trigger Bell's in all but one case, a Swiss flu vaccine that was sold during the 2001 to 2002 flu season, then promptly taken off the market. So far, the FDA has said that a number of Bell's palsy cases seen in Pfizer vaccine trial was consistent with the background frequency of reported Bell's palsy in the vaccine group that is consistent with the expected background rate in the general population, and there's no clear basis upon which to conclude a causal relationship at the time, but we'll keep a close watch on future cases. So, I don't know, that looks like a stroke to me, but I love how they put the Trump hair on that one. I love that. That's awesome. But yes, at this point, it is, people are saying it's linked. People are saying it's not. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But something to definitely watch for. And I'm still not taking this vaccine. If anybody in government talks about having something mandatory, especially in a medical sense, you can better bet that that's something that you should not even start thinking about taking. Now, if it's like the flu vaccine and say, hey, get your flu shot. Hey, we'll give you a little bit of extra bonus on your insurance if you go get your flu shot. Then I would consider it. I'm still not going to do it, but I would at least consider it off this. But when they're talking about laws mandating you take it, excuse me, I have questions. Speaking of the vaccine, Walmart is preparing to administer the COVID-19 vaccine. If it loads. There it goes. Walmart prepares to administer COVID vaccines at stores across the U.S. From Melissa Repko. PayPal in the link in the description below. Throw me a couple bucks. Help me build a new computer so we can keep doing this. Oh, give it a minute. Come on, old girl. Think faster. There it goes. That's what I was waiting on. It was trying to tell me that I needed to turn off my ad blocker. And which I say a hearty no. Alright, this is from Melissa Repko. Walmart is getting ready to administer COVID-19 vaccinations across the country once a vaccine is approved, the company's chief medical officer said on Thursday. In a post in the company's website, Dr. Tom Van Gilder said the retailer is preparing its more than 5,000 stores and Sam's Club locations to receive the vaccine doses, such as having freezers and dry ice at pharmacies to store them at the right temperature. I know we're all ready to get back to normal and enjoy life beyond the epidemic, and these vaccines will help us do that, he said. Hopefully, knowing full well that the Gretchen Whitmers of the world are sitting here thinking, we got to do something. I have so much power right now to tell people what they can do in their own private homes. We can't let a vaccine happen here. That'll stop. So, Go over to Walmart and get your vaccine if you want to have the vaccine. And don't forget, you'll get your papers too if you get your vaccine. All right, in other news from the government. Why does everything have to reload at this point? From Newsweek. Tulsi Gabbard pushes bill. What? Fuck you. You let me read this earlier. All right, we'll save that for Monday. Back from NPR. St. Louis prosecutor taken off case of couple who brandished guns at BLM protesters. This is also from NPR. Make sure you go and check out NPR, especially if you're driving, because that calming feeling, it makes your eyes feel heavy while you're hurtling down the road in a 3,000-pound hunk of steel. This is from Vanessa Romo. The St. Louis prosecutor spearheading the case against Mark McCloskey, one half of the husband and wife team, I can't fucking do that for a whole article, accused of menacing Black Lives Matter protesters with weapons, has been removed from the case. Circuit Judge Thomas Clark II on Thursday dismissed the circuit attorney Kim Gardner and her entire staff, saying the campaign fundraising emails Gardner sent to constituents that alluded to Mark and Patricia McCloskey's case raised the appearance of impropriety and jeopardized the defendant's right to a fair trial, the AP reported. Yeah, if you're using a big case like this to fundraise, you're compromised. You're not looking to see justice. You're looking to get a specific result in order to make sure your constituents all get happy and horny for you. Yeah, I would have pulled her off of this too. If you are using any case, if you are a prosecutor and you were using any case anywhere for fundraising, you shouldn't even be the prosecutor anymore at that point. This woman should be asked to step down and have her resignation on the governor's desk. Because that is bullshit. The ruling means that Gardner can no longer oversee McCloskey's prosecution. Instead, a special prosecutor will have to be selected to take over. The decision does not apply to McCloskey's wife, Patricia, who is scheduled to appear before a different judge on January 15th. So yes, absolutely take her down off of that. That is bullshit. All right. Let's keep going here. Got just a couple more. From Eyewitness 7 ABC, man who was serving 90-year sentence for marijuana released. This is out of Los Angeles. Written and submitted to ABC 7 by the AP. While serving a 90-year prison sentence for selling marijuana, Richard DeLissy's wife died, as did his 23-year-old son and both his parents. His adult daughter was in a horrific car accident and suffered a paralyzing stroke as a result. He never met two granddaughters, a lifetime of missed memories. Yet, 71-year-old DeLissy walked out of a Florida prison Tuesday morning, grateful and unresentful as he hugged his cheerful family. After serving 31 years, he's just eager to restore lost time. DeLissy was believed to be the longest-serving nonviolent cannabis prisoner, according to the Last Prisoner Project, which championed his release. DeLissy also finally met his 11-year-old and 1-year-old granddaughters for the first time this week. I'm a blessed human being, survivor, DeLissy said in a phone interview with the AP on Wednesday while he was in the parking lot of his favorite hamburger joint and watched his granddaughters laugh and bounce a ball. DeLissy was sentenced to 90 years for marijuana trafficking in 1989 at the age of 40. Even though the typical sentence was only 12 to 17 years, he believes he was targeted with the lengthy sentence because the judge mistakenly thought he was part of an organized crime because he was an Italian from New York. DeLissy said he had opportunities, but he never had any desire for that life. So, good on this guy for getting out. 90 years for trafficking is just asinine. Now, of course, 12 years for trafficking is asinine too, but what are you going to do? At the time, in 1989, the laws were that you could not sell a controlled substance without a controlled substance license. And there were no licenses for marijuana. So, at this point, he is out. He is meeting some of his family. He's lost some of his family, so F's in the chat for the family that he's lost. Hopefully he can make something out of the remainder of his life at 71 years old. That's a little bit difficult, I'm sure, but hopefully he can make something good out of the remainder of his life. And, honestly, I hope he gets a pardon for this. Because 90 years is just excessive. All right, let's keep going. From the AP, Justices rule Muslim men can sue FBI agents over the no-fly list, from Mark Sherman. A unanimous Supreme Court ruled on Thursday that Muslim men who were placed on the government's no-fly list because they refused to serve as an advertisement as FBI informants can seek to hold federal agents financially liable. Good. Good. The justices continued a string of decisions friendly to religious interests in holding that men could sue the agents under the 1993 Religious Freedoms Restoration Act for what it calls appropriate relief. The question here is whether appropriate relief includes claims for money damages against government officials in their individual capacities. We hold that it does, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote for the court. The three foreign-born men claim in the lawsuit that their religious convictions led them to rebuff agents who wanted them to inform on people in their Muslim communities. This is a clear prohibition in the Islamic faith. And it's shady as shit, too, by the way. Ramzi Kassim, the men's lawyer, told the justices during arguments in October. The men claimed that agents then placed or kept them on the list of people prevented from flying because they are considered a threat. The men have since been removed from the no-fly list. The trial court dismissed the suit once the names had been dropped on the list, but they argue that the retaliation they claimed cost them substantial sums of money, airline tickets wasted, and income from job opportunities lost. Thomas wrote, the Federal Appeals Court in New York agreed with the Muslim men, and the High Court affirmed that decision. Yeah, dude, seriously. Unless they've actually committed some sort of crime, and not cooperating with the FBI as much as the Mueller probe and all the supporters of the Mueller probe would like you to believe that not cooperating with the FBI is not a crime. You have the right to remain silent and have an attorney. And furthermore, the right to practice religion as you see fit in this country. You have these rights, and the FBI has no place to challenge them. So, no. Unless nobody else is getting hurt. No, there was no reason for these guys to be on the no-fly list. That is crap. So, good on them. Hopefully we hold the crooked FBI to account at this point. All right, 3 more, then we'll do live chat. All right, are we back? Are we back? I think we're back. We'll wait and see if the YouTube pops back up here. All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Looks like we blinked off the internet for a second, too. All right, let's start back from the top here just to see what happened. All right, top secret government documents have revealed that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau invited China's People's Liberation Army to send its troops to Ontario for cold weather training and was unhappy when it was cancelled, according to 2 Canadian media outlets. The Canadian government's bombshell secret 34-page file was obtained by Rebel News and the Globe and Mail. The 2 outlets published excerpts from the files on Wednesday, revealing that members of the PLA were scheduled to attend military exercises at a base in Ontario in 2019. According to the memos, the training was then canceled by Chief of Defense Staff Jonathan Vance due to the concerns that China could use the trip to obtain information from Canada. But Trudeau was displeased about the cancellation because he thought it would look like retaliation over China's detention of 2 Canadian nationals, and insisted Chinese officials would be let down gently, the memo show. Ezra Levant, founder of conservative news site Rebel News, claimed Thursday the PLA was sending spies, not just soldiers, to Canada through the partnership. Yeah, I'm not real easy on the idea of the fact that China is sending people over to Canada. to try and get them to train over here with this whole Fang Fang thing that just happened. Yeah, that doesn't make me sleep real easy. But that's Canada for you. And of course, Trudeau is disappointed because these army people were going to come over and they're just people kind, okay? And they're going to come over here and spend money. And that's what they're going to do. And everything's going to be happy. And we'll say sorry when they come in and blow stuff up in our country. We'll say sorry to them and give them a smoke. All right. 2 more. From Fox News, Rose McGowan backs Matthew McConaughey on hypocrisy from liberal celebs. Hollywood has been condescending. From Melissa Roberto. Rose McGowan is never one to shy away from calling out her Hollywood counterparts, and this time she's in agreement with Matthew McConaughey, who most recently blasted left-leaning stars' hypocrisy towards President Trump supporters. McConaughey last week spoke out about condescending attitudes from liberals against conservatives during an appearance on Russell Brand's podcast, Under the Skin. There are a lot of people on that illiberal left that absolutely condescend, patronize, and are arrogant towards the other 50%, McConaughey told the host. McGowan caught wind of McConaughey's remarks and took to Twitter early Thursday to back the beach bum actor. Of course he's a beach actor. Why wouldn't he be? McConaughey is right. Hollywood has been condescending, northern elite media liberals too, and it trickles down. Far before Trump presidency, illiberal condescension and patronization has formed how too many think. Break the class structure, the charmed alum wrote on Twitter. Well, that's probably pretty easy for you to say when you're sitting up in the high class. The actress turned activist has become vocal critic of the movie industry. In July, she penned a lengthy note on Instagram in which she declared she never enjoyed working in Hollywood. Yeah, I bet you that money felt really good, though. She's also made her stance against Hollywood liberal rants crystal clear, often taking her former charmed co-star Alyssa Milano to task on social media for her repeated support of Joe Biden. McGowan also previously unleashed a fury at Milano for allegedly turning a blind eye to Biden accuser Tara Reade's former assault accusations. Yeah, but I bet you still like that charmed money. I bet you still love that. So, is Rose McGowan based? Is that where she's going for? Is she trying to be based? Is that what we're seeing? Or is she just a hypocrite at this point? I don't know. I'll report, you decide. All right, last one here from CNN. Maybe. Here it goes. I promised this to you 2 days ago. We need to talk about it. We need to know what went on with this. I almost forgot to put it in the stack for the day again, but we need to talk a bit about this one here. And it looks like this is going to go right along with the conversation you guys have going on over in DLive too. Columbus Police Chief vows for a meticulous, unbiased investigation into Casey Goodson Jr.'s shooting, from Christina Maxoris. And of course, this is the first time that CNN has even touched this story, because we can't have police shootings under a Biden presidency. Following demands for answers from both the community and family of Casey Goodson Jr., a young black man fatally shot by a sheriff's deputy, the Columbus, Ohio police chief promised an independent, meticulous, unbiased investigation. We hear your cries for more information and more answers. We hear your demands for justice, Chief Tom Quinlan said in a Thursday statement. The difficulty reality is, very often in police work, information and answers are necessarily unavoidably slow to come. That is not in the interest of secrecy. It is in the interest of justice, he added. Quinlan's statement came nearly a week after 23-year-old Goodson was shot by Franklin County Sheriff's Office deputy Jason Meade as he was trying to enter his own home. Goodson, an Ohio concealed carry permit holder, was legally armed at the time of the shooting, police said. He was not alleged to have committed any crimes, had no criminal background, and was not the target of an investigation, family attorney Sean Walton told CNN. The Columbus Division of Police is handling an investigation into the shooting, and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Southern Ohio has opened a civil rights investigation. I'm surprised I haven't heard Candace Owen release this guy's complete criminal record of everything he's done from a stolen eraser back in grade school, because Candace Owens loves to do that. In his statement, the chief said he understood the painful history evoked by Goodson's death. The shooting is the latest in a series in recent years involving young black men and teens in their city. It also comes just months after Columbus protests that took place following the death of George Floyd, during which protesters clashed with police who fired rubber bullets and pepper spray. Police have only provided vague details about what happened prior to Goodson's death, but accounts from his family have offered glimpses into the aftermath. Goodson's grandmother told a 911 dispatcher she heard gunfire and found her grandson lying in a doorway, according to a recording obtained by CNN from Columbus Division of Police cries, could be heard in the background. He went to the dentist or somewhere and came home, Sharon Payne, Goodson's grandmother, told the operator. All I know is there's a bunch of gunfire. He's not a bad kid. He doesn't have a police record. He works. I don't know what happened. Goodson had put his keys in the door before he was shot and fell into the kitchen, where his 5-year-old brother and grandmother saw him lying on the ground with a Subway sandwich. Walton told CNN. Tamala Payne, Goodson's mother, said during a Thursday news conference that she rushed to the scene after the shooting and wasn't allowed to embrace her young children, who at the time were barefoot and crying. She said there were about 9 family members inside the home at the time of the shooting, including 4 children. So, as it stands, now, unfortunately, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this. As we so often see in these situations, there's usually some sort of underlying cause, especially if it's publicized. As it stands with the information in front of me right now, the police officer should be tried for murder. But all the evidence has not come out. All of the evidence has not come out at this point. This is something we need to watch. But of course, the most interesting part of this is that I didn't hear this on the top page of the Daily Wire, or on the top page of CNN, or on the top page of MSNBC. There was no Twitter outrage for this. I saw this story. I'm only aware of the story right now because of a smattering of articles, or not even articles, a smattering of tiles in Instagram stories. The media is not talking about this story, which is interesting because they talk to death about a man who was stuffed with so much fentanyl to kill a horse that if the police hadn't kneeled on his neck, he would have died from the fentanyl overdose anyway. About a man who reached into a cop car window and tried to grab the cop's gun. We hear weeks and weeks and weeks upon weeks upon weeks upon weeks of news coverage about someone who actually turned out to be doing something wrong. A guy reaching for a knife, high on drugs, about to get into a car and drive off with kids in the back that he wasn't supposed to be with at the time. For weeks and weeks, and cities burn over that. But this here, where it, by all accounts at this point, looks like the kid actually might have been innocent. Crickets. Just crickets. So, think about that. Think about what the news media is trying to tell you and what they're trying to shove down your throat. And why they put it up when it's convenient, and why they don't put it up when it's not convenient. So, that's something I want you guys to think about with this. We got to head on out of here, but before we head on out of here, we will read the chat. So I will move the live chat over here to the top. We'll bring this over onto the other side for you. But first, for the week, and you guys have been busy this week. Thank you, everybody, for helping me grow my audience. Like, that's huge, and I love that. But as we go along here, on Monday we had Ron Helton, Spartan, Sully Blue, Chilaga 1984, Silent Caster joined us over on Twitch. Jessica Green came and hung out with us for a little while over on Monday. Flancorp, our resident progressive, came in and hung out and gave us the left-wing perspective in the chat. I do read your chats, so... Nephilim Ninja was in here for a little bit, and Blind Fear closed out the Monday report on Tuesday. We had Ron Helton, Sully Blue, Spartan 0000, Superior 1, Flancorp, our resident progressive in Chitlaga 1984. Mike Oxmall joined us over on Twitch. Nephilim Ninja, Wholesome Games over on Twitch as well, was in here, and that was actually a good conversation he was bringing with us. We had Dragong Troll, and IYMERT17172 asked us if we wanted followers, BigFollows.com. On Wednesday, we had Ron Helton, Sully Blue, 918914. Thank you, Mr. Numberman. MK Ultra was in here. Otad Maru also wanted to see if we wanted followers, primes, and subscriptions. Nephilim Ninja was in here. Tails 303, who I don't think I've talked to since I was still doing solo videos, popped in for a little bit of a chat, so thanks for coming in and checking out the show. And Salient Samurai finished out our Wednesday run. On Thursday, we had Sully Blue, Spartan, Ron Helton, Stephen Ignoramus came in to listen to my rant on the YouTube letter. I was pissed. Dude, I was pissed when I saw that. And you guys can understand why. I make part of my living on YouTube. And now, if I so much as question, why? An 80-year-old man who wrote the 1994 crime bill outperformed in Atlanta, Philadelphia, Madison, Milwaukee, Detroit, Maricopa County. If I even question that, I could get my YouTube channel taken down. So thanks for coming in and hanging out with me for that. We also had Travis. I'm sorry, Watching Trains Go By, not Travis. I can't read my own handwriting. Watching Trains Go By came in and hung out with us. Sergeant Peterson, MK Ultra, and Chilaga rounded out Thursday. What do we got going on today? We've got Ron Helton with the sticker party. Chilaga with some more stickers. Elephant Man with some more stickers. MK Ultra, throwing them up here. Spartan says only take the Moderna vaccine. It's the only safe one. No, I'm not going to take any of them. Yeah, we now know who the Fed is. Tailspin for the win. Yeah, I liked that when I was a kid. And Chilaga, yeah, you're the same age as me, so you would have probably been about the same age when it came out. MK says, watch Mandalorian Season 1, total snooze fest, made it to sell merchandise. Is that your D Plus account, MK? Is that? Mandatory Moderna vaccines for all. No. Pennsylvania joined the lawsuit against Pennsylvania. That's new. I didn't know that. I was stuck over there for Elephant Man. Thank you, Elephant Man. I will look into that for Monday. Ron Helton is here. Silent Caster's here. Spartan's got the Jolly Roger up there. This election is about seizing control permanently of the corrupt and evil empire. Let them have it. We should just leave. Russia, Russia, Russia for 4 years. If you cannot see that media has gaslighted America for 4 damn years, then you're not paying attention. Academia and the media are a bunch of dangerous lunatics that think that they are smarter than the rest of America and that they should be in charge of our everyday lives. They lack compassion and common sense. They should not even be educating or informing the public. And on that, Spartan says, free crack pipes under the Biden administration. How is that jackass still there? He threatened to nuke red states. It's California, dude. They'll vote for this if it had a D on the side. Blind Fear is here. Welcome on in, Blind Fear. Dude with 71, overweight, diabetic, stop with the fear porn. Yeah, no. I understand what happened with that, but it still sucks. If he'd gotten the flu or pneumonia, he'd be just as dead. They're glued to their 24/7 news channels, and it's COVID, 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 24/7. They have people scared witless. They've lost all ability to reason for themselves. Every single person in 2020 died from COVID, except for 2 people. That guy in France who had his head cut off, and George Floyd, who died from a drug overdose. Yeah, he drives stress from his heart. Now we're having a discussion on what happened with Floyd. Once you have someone in your custody, you don't get to abuse them. That's true. I'm actually in the camp of that cop should walk too, because he did everything that the training manual said that he should have. And Floyd was on enough fentanyl to kill a horse. But the trial by jury of your peers is the ultimate thing. The rest of us can judge in a live chat, but trial by jury of your peers is what we need to have. Yeah, we're going through this is a great debate because I think everybody saw what they wanted to see on this. Flancorp says, remember that Epstein only got 2 years. Yeah, that prison sentence was absolutely excessive. Thank you, Flancorp, and welcome on in. I think that's the first time I saw you for today. A lot of people say I can't breathe. It started with Eric Garner. Yeah, that's true too. I can't breathe as a psyop to make people wear masks and not complain about not being able to breathe. Yeah, that's true too. There's Post Jazz in here. Welcome on in, Post Jazz. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Spartan, you guys tried fentanyl? No. No desire. Cops had zero compassion for their fellow man. They handled it all wrong. The jury will probably reduce it to manslaughter, but I think their callousness should be rewarded with being charged with murder. Well, once again, by a jury of your peers. Subway advertising. Thank you, Blind Fear. I as to whether or not that needed to be in the story. No one is under any obligation to provide people who have no regard for their own lives with compassion. Giving junkies compassion is how you get missing shit and hepatitis. Based. Oh, Spartan owns Moderna stock, by the way, you guys, so the shot. Alright, I actually have to kick Instagram because my phone just hit 5%. And we're still going on the timeline for this. It's synthetic heroin. All right, and that's going to be it for the day. So we will be back here. We'll be back here tomorrow with Across the Board. I will be joined by Britt from the Freckles and Britt Show, John from the Generational Gap, Anna Voltis from Getting the Facts with Anna Voltis, which is a new project that he's on, and Elaine from the Red Net Show. I think everybody that I have on as a guest tomorrow is a part of another show, but we'll be on here for Across the Board. We will be talking about how liberty is portrayed in the mainstream media, which is, I mean, to me is an interesting topic. I heard Eddington's speech on DS9 the other day, and it got me thinking about that. So we're going to see if we can find good instances of liberty being portrayed in the media and bad instances, and we'll talk about them. So looking forward to that. Hopefully you can come and hang out for us for that. That's going to be at 5:30 Central Time. Looking forward to that. Otherwise, we will be back here on Monday for more Contemporary. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing what else happens in the news and seeing if Pennsylvania is suing itself for election stuff. That was a very interesting point to make, Elephant Man. So we'll talk a bit about that. Otherwise, if you can't make either of those, we will be back here on Monday night for the Red Ned Show, rounding up all the rest of the news throughout the week and tormenting Elaine with more election news because it's still not over. And with that, we'll be out of here. Thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll see you next time. And until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary.